Hi there.
Hi, Paola.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good,
How are
good,
you
good. Thank you
doing?
for joining us again. I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad to
Thank
have you.
you.
Um,
Nice to be here. It's nice. I'm enjoying it now. We need to do it next week as well. I know we don't have.
Perfect. Well, there are so many things to talk about that I would be happy to have you more often. Even I was
Well,
thinking, I think probably this should become like a little habit of us. Have this a 15 minutes chat, very practical.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. Let's do it. So,
I think it's.
um,
I'm enjoying the live. I started recently, but it's a nice way to connect with the people you're connected with, but also the person you're connected with, but also with people tuning in. It's nice.
yes, and I think the more we do it, the more people engage with us, and I think
Yeah.
this is great, and it's also a good practice for us, regardless of how many people are
Yeah.
doing it, right? Being very honest.
Absolutely. And then they watch it later. We're all busy running around. So the fact
Right.
that it can be there later, it's also very valuable. So that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. So this week I got a couple of questions about people that work standing up or have to stand up for a very long time, and sometimes they said that they
Mm.
have either heel pain or pain on the sole of the feet. And then
Hmm.
so now that you work with so many people as well, and I think instructors, fitness instructors, they stand up also a lot. uh, what have you encountered, or do you have an idea why
So,
standing up can
well, in
cause pain?
general, yeah, I mean, just for the general standing, it's like mostly if you have to standing still without walking, it's very hard on the body, right? On the feet, on the knees, and all the joints, building up from the feet. So in general, exercise like a little movement, reinforcement, similar to what we did last week for the shake foot, that's already great because it increases blood circulation and puts the foot in an easier, it decreases the discomfort. So that's something to always keep in mind. Movement, right? When you're sitting on a chair too long and you have your back pain and your stuff, what do? You come up, you walk, you move, you stretch, right? So similar for the feet, if they're standing still, you need to move them around a little bit. But what you were describing makes me think maybe it's not what you're referring, but makes me think to maybe a beginning or a subtle plantar fasciitis in the background. What is plantar fasciitis? Plantar fasciitis is basically is an inflammation, is a micro tears at the fascia at the bottom of the foot. So what happens when we stand too much, when we walk on a hard surface, also when we do very plyometric type of sports, or let's say we gain weight very quickly, maybe a woman is pregnant and in like a few weeks or a few months time you get so much more weight to handle, and what's holding all that weight? The foot, right? So in general all these very different situations uh, potentially can create this inflammation at the bottom of the foot. So it's very annoying, painful. You talk about the heel, and a lot of times it really, the point where it's more painful or the point where it shows up the most is right in front of the heel, where the arch of the foot starts. And what is the important thing? If you can, the important thing is not to have it become a chronic condition,
Right.
because with exercise we can be very powerful and do very good things, but ideally we don't want to this condition to become chronic. Otherwise it stays with us, right? And for things like plantar fasciitis, sometimes you ask the client, like, is it new or is it old, to understand if it's an acute or chronic condition. A lot of times the answer is like, oh no, it's new, it started yesterday. But then you find out that maybe they had it a year ago, 3 years ago, and 10 years ago. So at that point, it's not really an acute thing, it's already a chronic thing, it's something that they're subject to. But it's, again, very annoying. We need to be patient. But there is, in general, splaying of the toes and some stretches of the foot are really valuable. But even more than stretching, there is one exercise that it's I can send the link for the research, but there is this research that has been made. Basically, they say that this type of exercise is even more powerful than painkillers for plantar fasciitis.
Wow,
Because what do you do? It's not just the stretch. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm gonna show you now. And it's basically it's a eccentric contraction of both the the calf, both calf muscles, the gastrocnemius and the soleus, because of course you can imagine how the same fibers of the plantar fascia are the ones that continue up behind the heel and they kind of form the Achilles tendon, right? So beside working on the foot, this exercise is really valuable. In Pilates, we call it the 2x4, because usually, and it's more powerful, is if it's executed on a little wedge, on a little lift, so that you can go below level with the heel. But in the beginning, when it's very painful, or if you want more stability, you can also do it without the 2x4. I don't have a 2x4 here with me, but I usually use either photography book. This specific is an anatomy book. So any rigid, book that you have in the house can be used for this purpose. I'm gonna pull the camera a little bit farther away so that you can see
something.
Yeah.
To see if I can do it with you.
Oh yes, you can. So if you have a wall, close to you, it's or a chair or anything that helps you with the stability, that's perfect. That's great. Oh. And
I have my book here. I'm going to
perfect.
So everyone can see.
So I'm gonna go profile so that you can guys see the movements of the ankles and of the knees as well. So you can do it in Pilates stance with the toes apart and the heels together, but you can also do it in parallel. Both positions are good. Usually you choose one position over the other according to the body type, according to the shape of the legs. Now, from this position, before, to just get in tune with the exercise, we are gonna go up on the toes and we lift up the heels, and then we're gonna go down slowly with control. And we do it a few times. Really good, Paola. And again, you're gonna go lift, 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 and slowly down. So when I say slowly down, I want you to imagine to have two compression springs under your heels right now, right? And you push them down. So actually you're working, elongating the muscles as you do that. Now, let's go to the full version of the exercise, where we don't only work with straight legs, but also with bent legs, and you will see how. So we're gonna go up exactly like we did, with the heels very high. Now, don't lower the heels, just bend your knees. From this position, your heels are pressing down powerfully, exactly like before, and you try to bring them way down as close to the floor as possible, and then you extend. So you see how that action now is done with bent legs, right? Let's repeat. You're gonna lift up, you're gonna bend the knees, you're gonna push with the heels to go low as you can. You elongate the muscles of the calf, and you lengthen out mostly the soleus. And you go up, you bend, you press down to get to the floor, and lift. Now let's reverse that action. So you're gonna bend your knees. You feel a big tension at the back of your legs, right? At the back of the lower leg. Now you're gonna lift up your heels, stretch up the legs, and now that push That eccentric contraction is with straight legs for the gastrocnemius. And again, you bend, you lift up tall with the heels, you reach up with the top of the head to the ceiling and lower down. And of course, now because of the small camera, we need to focus only on the knees and ankles, but this is a postural exercise, right? As we do, we mind our shoulders, our pelvis, our head. We're really putting the whole alignment of the body together. Okay, so you see how, yeah, that's great. That's perfect. Up, 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 and you lower.
Perfect.
You see how simple it is, but really, really powerful exercise when it comes to inflammation at the bottom of the foot if it is plantar fasciitis. And then, of course, you can add also some stretches. But what the research was proving to be really efficient and really effective was this eccentric contraction of the calf muscles. And it's really interesting. It usually, when you are suffering from plantar fasciitis, very painful in the morning because you rest at night, the fibers are regenerating, the scar tissue is forming, and then you step down on the floor. And of course, the 6, 7, 8 hours that we sleep at night are not enough to heal the foot completely. And so in the beginning, it's a little bit painful. Then usually because everyone reacts slightly different, but usually it gets a little bit better. And then when you're tired after many hours of standing, many hours of, pounding on the foot, it gets painful again because of the heavy load.
So when is the best time of the day to do this exercise? Morning, night, or?
Yeah, usually both. In the morning, it gets you going because it gets to move the fibers. And at night, if you are, if you're sore because of the long day that you had, I would do this, and also a little bit of release of legs up, just to help improve the circulation. Again, the shake foot that we did last week, I would actually do that one before this exercise. So beside this one, this exercise works more on the connection with the leg above, and works also on the foot, but more longitudinal with a connection above. The other one gets to splay and almost stretches. Let's say that this is my foot, right? Or I'm gonna show you from here. So if this is my foot, this is the ligament, right? So this is where usually you are in a lot of pain. So this ligament goes, is in continuity with the back and goes from here all the way to the end of the metatarsal, right? So here, if I splay my toes, you see how I can act on the tissue at the bottom of the foot, right? So when we were doing the shake foot and creating space, that's a very powerful thing because you are opening up that tissue that is very contracted and stiff and needs motion and blood flow.
And then I guess, do we do how many repetitions of those exercises to see an impact? So we're going to do it every day, and in order to see an impact.
Yeah. So when you start doing it, make sure, because it's anyway, you're working on a foot that is already sore, right? So don't, do like 3 repetitions in one direction and 3 in the other direction. Don't do too much, otherwise you get to overwork the foot and there is no benefit, right? And then when it improves, if you
go ahead.
No, and then when the foot feels a little bit better, you can definitely add a few more reps. You can do like 5, 6 one direction, 5 and 6 the other direction. You can add more variations, but not too much. The work on the foot is never it should never be 15 or 20 minutes. It's always like a couple of exercises, not too many reps, but just to make sure that you have mobility and strength.
Well, this is great because then for me and for everyone that is watching or is going to watch this video, you only need probably 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening, and basically you're strengthening your feet for the rest of your life to keep you, walking.
Absolutely.
I was reading that plantar fasciitis is something that is more commonly present in people age 40 to 60. And then can you imagine if
Yeah, because
what you can avoid just by giving yourself and giving your feet 2 minutes of the day?
absolutely, absolutely. And that makes sense that that's the age, right? What happens when we get older? The hydration in the body in general diminishes. And because of that, every tissue, it's less elastic, and you can control the pressure and the different movements in a different way. So keeping yourself hydrated, and so making sure you drink water and you stay hydrated is one thing. Movement and exercise is very important to prevent, but definitely if you are a runner and you're getting around that age range that you mentioned, if you wear tight shoes or if you stand a long time during the day, it's best to prevent and just start working on these couple of exercises before you even get the inflammation of the foot on the foot.
This is great, Ilaria. Thank you so much. And I love this because it's very punctual, short, easy. You don't need anything but your feet in order to do it. And well, for the last one,
Absolutely.
a thick book or something like
A
that.
book. But again, and in the beginning, you can even start without the book. You can do them while your toast is, your bread is toasting for breakfast. You can do after you brush your teeth. I mean, you can really sneak it in any moment of the day before you leave, so that you're all set to go and ready for the long day ahead.
This is great, Ilaria. Thank you so much for your time. And then for
Thank you
our
for having me.
yes, and then for our followers, if you want to go a bit deeper on those exercises, because here we're making like very short sessions, but if you have any question for Ilaria, please don't hesitate to contact her. And
Thank you.
fitness.com, right? Can you please confirm your
feed-ness.com.
perfect?
Yeah.
Or here through Instagram as well. And then
Oh, yes,
let
absolutely.
us know what questions you have. What would you like to ask Ilaria as well? What would you like us to talk about with Ilaria? And then we will be happy to take into account your comments or questions for our next talk.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Paola. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye, big hugs.
Bye.